Dala everyone, welcome back. I'm so happy to be finally back. It's been such a long time and so much has been going on, but you know that now that you see my face again, that you know that I'm back for real this time. I just want to say thank you for all of you who have been sending messages, who have kept on watching the videos, who are asking questions, and who have kept up with the work, who have kept on working on yourself, trying to better your life, but trying to better who you are and getting to the best version of yourself, but also being very serious about being authentic and being yourself. So I wanted to make, I have so many videos to edit, and I'm just right now putting that on the back burner. As you know, I gave birth last year, and my focus, my priority is really on my daughter, my little girl, and basically I work my schedule around her. So today she was graciously giving me a little bit of time while she's with her brother, and so I'm going to take that time to do some of the video that I think the messages are the most pressing. So please, especially those of you who have been longing to have more kids or more babies, this is a perfect time, and I had to do this video to make sure you get this message while this window of opportunity is still open. So I will start with that, and then I'll go on different subjects. You may see several videos because since I have a lot of time, I'm going to try to do as many videos as I can on the different topics that I've set aside for you. And then, you know, you will see bits and pieces that will come out. I'll try to have, I've never had a schedule on this channel because, you know, when the message comes, it comes and I share it. But also, it's simply because it's never been a job for me. YouTube is not a job, it's not a career for me. However, it is certainly an outlet for me to share information and things with you, with random people who end up on YouTube who are searching for different things, but also with some of my clients that sometimes ask the same questions, and so it's also easier for me to pinpoint them to a video that I've already done. I also want to take this time to say that I've started back taking consultation. You know, I've had consultation throughout my pregnancy and a little bit throughout birth. It's really with either close client or people who have questions that I can really that don't really need too much follow-up. For those of you who are new, because I've seen that a lot of you are new since I've last been here in person. And for that, I wanted to, first of all, welcome you. When I say Dala at the beginning of every video, it's just a way of greeting you to this space. This is a way we greet each other in my own tradition, which is the MlleCammy tradition. So on this channel, I often share things about African spirituality and other spirituality, or the spirit world in general, from my MlleCammy perspective, but also from other systems and traditions that I've come to learn over the years. So please feel at ease, and I hope if you have any questions, you will just share. And please also share where you're watching me from, if you have anything to add or questions or things that are your perspective, because sometimes, you know, I'm sharing certain things, but sometimes some of the subscribers also will share some depth of wisdom. And I really want to thank you for your patience, because having consultations with me for the past few years, I think the past 5 years has been a little bit of a long wait for a lot of you. Some of you have waited 6 months, sometimes 7 months to be able to have the consultations, just because there are periods where I have so many consultations that it has to be a long wait time. And that's why I always tell you, when you write to me and you want a consultation, let me know a little bit about yourself. Let me know what your question is. Sometimes, and for some of you, I've been able to answer you and give you the information right in the email. I really want the consultations to be opportunities where you already tried certain things, you've already looked around, or you research and you want this additional piece of information, or you want to discuss with me, my perspective on what you're working on, or what you're thinking about, or whatever or what's happening to you, or what's going on. So that's why the consultation, my prices have never changed. It's $75 US dollars for a session. The session varies depending on the client. I'm not the type, if you had a consultation with me, you can vouch for this. I'm not the type to just cut you off because the time is over. So that's why the session is not a 1 hour session. It doesn't say 1 hour, it doesn't say 2 hours. It's basically, I try to fit it as much as possible based on what the client needs. So if you need a little bit more time to be able to tell your story, I'm quite flexible with that. And because I do that, sometimes, you know, after one consultation I get drained. It depends on each consultation, is not the same, so that's why I usually don't have 2 consultations on the same day, and also for me to be fully present. Even more so now with the baby, I tend to space them out so I have time also to recuperate, because when we are exchanging, there may be things that come through as we are discussing, there may be things that come through to me later on, a few days after speaking with you, exchanging with you, and usually I just do an email follow-up. So that's for the people who ask me about the consultations. Now that I'm back, what I wanted to do is be able to give you more information in a format that's even a little bit more interactive, a little bit more efficient for me as well. So I'm thinking about having a Zoom call, a free Zoom call once a month, where you could just come. I will have a topic already ready. I will talk about this topic, and then you will be able to ask questions. This will be off of YouTube, so I will probably post a link on the what do you call it, the members page or the community page. I'll post the link there. I don't have I'm still thinking about the date for the first one, which should be before I started traveling a little bit, so sometimes in June, early June, I mean soon. But I'm thinking somewhere around the 14th, but I'll confirm that for sure. You will have, just make sure you have the notification bell turned on, so that if you are interested in joining the Zoom call, you'll be able to receive the notification when I post it on the membership or the community tab, and get to the link so you can join in. And so I will leave some time at the end of that particular session to be able to exchange with you if you have questions. Please, as usual, if I'm choosing a topic, that's going to be the topic I'm going to be talking about. That's going to be what I'm going to ask if you have any questions about. For any other question, or if you want to if you want to suggest a topic or anything like that, then you can do it on the comment section. You can do it by emailing me. You can do it in different ways in the membership tab as well, or the community tab. You can find a post and just look at express the subject that you'll be interested, or the topic you'll be interested in, or me speaking on. So that's much for the housekeeping. I'm still living in Senegal, so, and I'm very sorry. I have so many videos and pictures and so many different things that I've been taking pictures and getting back to my photography side. So there's a lot there to share, and I just don't have the time to edit. I just don't have the time to put it all together. I'm hoping that now that the baby is a little bit less dependent on me, I'm exclusively breastfeeding for her needs in milk, and she just started solid, so it gives me a little bit more flexibility to be able to edit and do things like that when she doesn't require my undivided attention. And I'm very excited. I'm happy to be a second-time mom. This is really my motherhood era. I started in my 20s, and I'm in my 40s now, and really enjoying it. And looking to everything that this window has still to offer for me until there's no more babies coming in. But until then, I'm very enjoying it. And that's why this is going to be a series of videos that will come out around the topic of motherhood, around the topic of that, because that's the season I'm in. You always see that the videos, the subject I discuss, are the subjects that are relevant for me at the moment that I discuss them. I usually, if you suggest something and for me it's not the season or the time to discuss it, I will still keep a tab on it, because there's a lot of different tabs that I kept. And then when the season comes, when the time is better or more opportunity to talk about, then I'll do that. So please let me know how you've been. So many of you, I've seen you who keep on commenting on different videos. I'm currently also working on the next mat installment. Hopefully I will at some point finish the 42. But I also think that for those kind of things, you shouldn't be rushing. The invitation and the principle of mat in working on yourself is not something you're going to watch one video one time and then you're going to get it. Because as you're implementing the videos, as you're focusing on one of the aspects of yourself, maybe being more nurturing or being more graceful towards each other, extending more grace towards other people, you'll see that you get a lot of challenges. People are going to challenge your boundaries. People are going to try to push you off of your focus. And that requires you to make the right call, the right decisions every single day. So to me, the fact that, you know, I post on that in that series and there's other things happening, then I post, so it's not like a back-to-back every day you get a video on the mat and in 42 days it's over. It also gives you a break to kind of revisit the older videos, and I do that myself as well, because don't think that because I'm sharing that oh, I know it all and I'm a perfect person. Not at all. We each of us are in a journey, searching and trying to better ourselves. And being more authentic, being more of who we are, and improving the qualities that make a great human being. And so time to time, we go back to some of the other principles, especially when there's something that's challenging and I look at the principle and I see that it pertains to a specific principle. I'll rewatch that video, I re-listen to it, and I'll try to sleep on the things that bothers me, and to find more resilience, basically. And always, as I said, the reward for the mat is not based on how other people are going to react, how the world is going to react. It's based on the fact that when you're doing it, that's the reward. To be able to have the capability to embody love, or embody nurturing, embody the respect for other people, for the sacred. Doing those things, that's the reward in itself. It has a reward in itself. And that should be what motivates you to want to aspire, want to include that within your life. And of course, as we go along, we have questions, we have things in that we may have. Also, we may also have challenges. So don't think that it has to be a perfect journey. But you have to be also accountable for yourself, for your mistakes. That's a very important aspect of working through the mat. So this is pretty much it. I wanted to just tell you I'm back and that you'll see a lot more of me. You'll see also a lot more posting. I'm trying to edit some videos and stuff, but don't expect a schedule. It's gonna that portion will not change. And for the things that I've mentioned before that I'm working on, I'm still working on them. They are going to be coming up, and just in a delayed schedule. But everything that I've said I'm going to be doing, I will be doing them. It's just a matter of time. Yeah, so that's that. I'm really looking forward to being able to speak to you, whether it is in the comment section or through the Zoom call that we'll be able to have once a month, and where I'll be also able to share a lot more, because it will be off of YouTube, so there won't be any constraint in terms of video being demonetized or hidden or anything like that. And that's that. So the topic of the day, the fertility portal. Oftentimes I talk about astrology and some of the ways that astrology can help you better time what you're trying to do, whether it is launching a business, retiring or closing a business, meeting someone, assessing a relationship, etc., etc. All of those things are just tools. For me, astrology is not predictive. I mean, it's not something that's constraining me. If I don't do this, then that's going to happen to me, etc. For me, it's a tool, just like you listening to the weather forecast. Okay, they may tell you it may rain today, etc. So you take an umbrella, and sometimes they tell you it may rain and it doesn't rain. But you have your umbrella. If it did happen to rain, you'll be well prepared. You know, and sometimes, yes, it may be a little bit cumbersome having an umbrella with you and it doesn't rain. People may be looking at you funny, But if there's a shadow of a rain or anything like that, and you have your umbrella, you will feel very gracious to have it with you, not to be stuck. So to me, this is how I look at it. It gives me additional information that I can take in consideration if I'm planning something, if I'm thinking about something, if I have questions about something. And of course, the more precise, because I'm talking right now I was talking about more general horoscope, general placement of planets and things like that. Think that everyone, if you look at a random video on astrology about where the planets are at this moment, then you will get the information, which is general. So it's not something that specifically geared to you. It's just saying this is where the planets are, this is the general influence that you may or may not feel. So you can take that in consideration. Now, when you go to something that you want information that's specific to you, this is when you have a session with an astrologer, so where you can ask specific questions, or you can have more general questions, maybe about your career or about your relationship or your finances and what have you, and they may be able to give you specific timing to help you in that particular area based on your natal chart, based on you. So then they can tell you this is the general spectrum for everyone, and this is how it may specifically affect you based on your natal chart, based on where the planets were when you were born. And you use that with a grain of salt. You use that, especially if you see that it aligns with what you want, it is aligned with what you were planning. This can be a great boost of confirmation to say, hey, this is a second confirmation for a go. Take this opportunity, take this time. If you were hesitating between two dates or two consideration, this may be additional information that helped you make the decision, that helped me make that choice. Of course, with everything I tell you, use your discernment no matter who is telling you these things, no matter what you hear. Okay, so if something, if you receive an information and that does not sit well with you and you're convinced this is otherwise, it can be otherwise, it can be so. And that applies to any subject in life, including fertility, including conception. If you go to Vedic astrology and the ancient ways in the Vedic tradition, people will even ask the astrologer when is the best time for them to conceive a child, when is the best time for them for the child to be born, just to have more of the positive energy around that child, for the specific attribute and qualities that they want that child to have, or that they want to be available to that child as they grow. So this is really important, and this was in those traditions. It was natural, it was normal. This was something you're doing. When you are dating somebody, you will look at your horoscope and see where are your challenges lie, where are your similarity, where your strength as a couple, so that you know what to tackle. And I think for any, if you are dating, or if you are even married and you're having some friction or tension, it could be beneficial for you to just look at your natal chart and have a compatibility reading. Not so that you are scared and say, oh, we should never have been together. No. But for you to be looking at areas where you may need to work a little bit more. So that would be a wonderful way for you to expand on your, your communication styles. Maybe also expanding on knowing each other better. And that's something that's another tool that's just available. And for me, ultimately, in my crazy dreams or my crazy aspiration, I will have a dating service or a matchmaking service that will include astrological compatibility. If you're a man and you're coming and you're saying you're looking for your wife, we'll have a natal chart reading about you, and then we'll match you only with women. If you say these are your deal breakers, then we could match you with somebody who also has a compatible chart. And that could be, or at least astrology, or astrology should be a component in that matching process. But this is if you are a matchmaker out there, or even a counselor, when doing couple counseling, consider using those tools such as astrology when you are looking at your client and the friction that they may have that may sometimes not be obvious. And as I mentioned, astrology is just an additional tool that you can have in your toolbox to explain to your client and to use for the benefits of your clients. And the great thing with that, unlike psychology or whatever your therapist is telling you, you cannot verify what the therapist is telling you that you may have or you may not have, because the test taker and those psychiatric tests are very, they require a certain level of knowledge. However, when it comes down to astrology, you can verify this thing. You can verify the placement of the planet. You can verify the different interpretation, even go to different tradition of astrology to see if there are additional meanings. It's exactly like medicine. You can have a go to the hospital and get a diagnostic from a doctor, and then you can get second, third opinions, and you can even get out of that system and go to a naturopath for another assessment. You can go to a traditional Chinese doctor. You can go to a Ayurveda practitioner. You can go to a traditional African doctor. So there are or a traditional indigenous practitioner. There are many avenues for you to get the information, and the most important thing is for you to get information that helps you. So just know that those resources are out there, and this applies also in the context of fertility. And the reason why I wanted to make this video now is because the fertility portal has been open, and I know some of you have had miscarriages, have had issues with fertility, have had issues with conceiving or having a healthy pregnancy and maintaining that pregnancy. So this portal is not only about the astrological aspect, but also based on the spiritual energies that are present. For me, it was when I was given this information that the portal was open, then I started seeing astrologers confirming it with the placement of certain planets and certain things. As I say, I'm not an astrologer, so when I listen to those things, it confirms to me the information that I already have most of the time. So it's something that I wanted to share with you guys, especially those of you who have cried, who have maybe even give up and said, maybe this motherhood chapter is not for you, or maybe you're not going to have any more kids because of the difficulties that you've encountered. So this is a time for you to really know that it is another opportunity for you to try, and to try in an environment where the energies are actually supporting you in that sense. So for any of you who have had this longing in your heart with your partner to have more kids or to have your first child, please take the time to use this season to try again. And I'm going to try to give you some pointers. I took a few notes just to make sure I don't forget anything about this, because it is not sufficient that the energies are conducive or supporting this. There are also things that you need to do in order to take full advantage of it. So the first one I will say, the portal opened with the new moon, which depending on where you are was yesterday or today or tomorrow. And it doesn't matter if you miss the exact day, because what matters is that you are still in the spectrum, that the portal opens now with the new moon, but you have the next 6 months to try to conceive and to be able to use that supportive energies to your advantage as you do so. And of course, I'm focusing on fertility here, but fertility has many aspects. If you're working on a project, you have a specific idea, this is also the time for you to work on it, to plant that seed, to prepare the ground for that. But let's get back to the fertility element and why it's so important for you to prepare and for you to act. This is not, if you've been praying and praying and praying, this is great, you can keep on praying, but then you need to add those different steps. It's not something that you're gonna get just being passive. The first step, the first number one, is to attend to medical issues while you keep trying. So if you have medical issues, and that you have to be honest with yourself, if you have fibroid, high blood pressure, whatever the issue may be that you decided to live with, it could also even be diabetes. If you have those things, start attending to them. Start selecting either a specialist or a naturopath or a healer, but start working on them, because this is sending the message that you want to get healthy, you want to get rid of that ailment, so that there's more room for you to produce a healthy child. And I mean healthy, not just based on what the doctor will ask you, healthy in all of the senses, including spiritually. Okay? And this fact that you are working on yourself and looking at the issues And I'm not saying that you need to be cured. That's why I say attend to it while you keep trying. So you may have some issue, fibrome, or whatever it is, PCOS, whatever it is, just attend to it. Just look at your diet, sort of things that can help you alleviate the symptoms, help you change the imbalance if it's a hormonal issue, but attend to it. Attend to it, and no matter what practitioner you choose to work with you on that, let them know that you are trying to conceive, that your goal and or your priority at the moment is really trying to conceive. This is so that they take in consideration that they did not give you something that could prevent you from conceiving, because sometimes there are certain drugs or certain plants that may be very efficient for one thing but have contraindication, or that may have side effects that may decrease your chances of conceiving. So just take that in consideration. That's the first thing, attending to any medical issues that you may have while you continue to try. The second is to follow your cycle very closely. Okay, this may be evident, and I know that some women just think because you just write when you have your menstruation and then you write when the next one comes, that is not charting your cycle. When I say cycle, follow your cycle very closely. That means you should know when your period finishes. You should know when you are in your luteal phase. When that phase ends, you should know when you are ovulating. At least you should know the sign of ovulation. And for that, there are so many different tools. There are ovulating calendars. They are based on the knowledge that you have about your cycle. So if you've never done this before in your life, then the first month may help you use it to in order to chart how long is your cycle. If you have irregular cycle as well, if you've done it before, find a way to record so that you can follow your cycle. So you can say, okay, this is the day 1 of my period. You mark it on the calendar. You can also pay attention to where the moon is, what phase the moon is when your period starts. And then every day you mark if you have any type of discharge, what the discharge looks like. That will help you also track your fertility. I made a course, Sacred Cycle, that you can also find available if you need more help on that. But so that when you are in a different phase of your cycle, you are fully aware of what phase you are in. And so that you also take advantage of the window of fertility that's there for you, that you don't miss it because you're distracted or because you don't pay attention, and that you use those different things that your body is telling you. You can use also a little bit of technology if you want, to those basal body thermostat. That's one additional tool you can use. You can use also ovulation test strip. Those help you follow the phase up to ovulation, to see when your luteal hormone is the highest, so that you can know that the next day or the next 24 to 48 hours the egg is going to be released. So I'm not going to go in too much detail, but basically track your cycle very, very well. And if you can, mark it on a lunar calendar or mark the phase of the moon in there to see when you have your period, what phase of the moon is it. When you ovulate, what phase of the moon is it as well. So you can see which phase you're most in sync with. And so you can track that to see if that changes with the seasons, if that changes based on your mood or your stress level and things like that, or if you are always menstruating with the full moon or menstruating with the new moon, etc. These are information you can use, especially if you're younger, in your 20s or in your 30s. Tracking that will give you valuable information to be able to better predict what your fertility window will be, and to take advantage of those energies when they're available to you. If you have any questions about how to use the moon and your fertility cycle, just let me know in the comment section, and I could be doing a separate video on that if it's needed. The first one was for you to attend to medical issue. The second one is for you to follow your cycle very closely, and the third is to eat healthy. And by healthy, I mean to eat nutritious food. Okay, a diversity of nutritious food, and making sure you get most of the nutrients that you need from your food. So of course you can use a supplement. I'm not against supplement. Use a supplement to make sure you have the vitamins, but understand that if it's not supplement that are food extract, they're coming from natural extract of food, then your body may not actually absorb most of it. So that's why you have to make sure that you're eating very well and that you're eating nutritious, diverse food. If you are someone who was always eating greasy fast food, try to add the salad now. If you cannot eat the salad, then try to do a green juice that you can eat. Even if you have to add, some pineapple or some mango to make it a little bit sweeter. But make sure you add those greens, you add those yellow, purple, salads are great because you can have a lot of different vegetables with different colors that represent also different vitamins and different minerals that you need. So pay attention to your diet. It doesn't need you to be going drastically if you can, but if you can deduct stuff, add the nutritious things in them. Add the salads, add the vegetable, add the fruits. Instead of taking a piece of chocolate or caramel or a muffin or something like that, add a fruit to it. And of course, the higher quality of food you have, the better it is. But start where you are number 4 is about your current life. If you've been trying to conceive for a long time and these things don't seem to be working, especially if there's nothing wrong in terms of your health, if there's nothing wrong with your eating, you're already somebody who works out, who eats well, and who's in great health, and it's still not working, one of the things that I will ask you is to really sit down with your partner, with your husband or with your wife, and really talk about why you want to have kids, what the kids mean to you. And I say things because sometimes, even for me, in consultation with some women who are trying to conceive, they will tell me that they want kids so badly, but they never really consider or ask their husband, the partner, what is his conception, if he's ready to have kids, how many does he want, etc. Because it's always 2. If both of you have to agree, have to be in alignment and agreement, subconsciously or even consciously, but subconsciously is even better for that to happen. The easier sometimes is that the man is already in a dad mode and wants to have kids so that he can give that thought of his seeds to you, and then you funnel in how many you are willing to do, how your body's fit to to have the pregnancy and all of that. So have this honest chat, and please, if your husband or your partner says that they're not ready, understand that they're not ready. Understand that if they tell you they're not ready or they are not ready, and you keep trying to conceive, it may not come to anything because there's a blockage there from that person. And it may require you working on what will make them ready, digging a little bit deeper to see what is the issue. Is it a financial stress? Is it that? And talking about the financial aspect of it, that will make it easier for you to be able to have those kids. And before you start saying the economy is bad, etc., for thousands of years in all of the ancient traditions, people did not put financial strain as a priority factor when deciding to have kids. And that's why you need to understand. That's why you need to remember. There have been wars, there have been terrible things happening, and people still were willing to have kids, no matter the social level, the economic level. So the most important, and there are solutions, there are opportunities, there are a lot of solutions for you to make one income work, to even have support from your friends, from your family, to feel more comfortable doing that, especially if it's your wife who's reluctant. Sorry. You have a... So I want to say that there are solutions, especially if it's your wife who is reluctant, if she is not thinking that she's not feeling comfortable to have kids because of your financial situation. Take the time to review these things, because sometimes it's not even about how much you make, it's how you are perceiving the money that you make, how you are using the money that you make, and the other non-financial resources that you may have around you, of people that may come in just to help with the newborn, just to help with tasks and things like that, people who are willing to volunteer their time so that you don't have to pay them. You may return the favor in other ways. So be innovative when you're discussing those things. Don't discuss those things in order to find a solution. Do not discuss this thing to blame them or to minimize them or to belittle them or to argue. Do not use that as your confirmation of, oh yeah, I need to leave this marriage or I need to leave this relationship. Really be in the mode of finding a solutions, and solutions there are many. If I had a penny every time I had a consultation with a woman who was trying to live more abundantly or go from a working mom to a stay-at-home mom on one income with the partner, the husband, the boyfriend at the time, if I had a penny every time I just told her a few things that she needs to be willing to do in order to make that work, and it actually worked, you won't believe it. So have that conversation, and it has to be an honest conversation, meaning each of you have to be willing to hear what the other person has to say, okay, even if it hurts. And sometimes it will hurt, and there's nothing to going around that. And it's not because it hurts that it's bad. It hurts because you had an expectation of what they will say or how they will feel, and it's not that expectation. So take that in, then you put your feelings aside, you really look at what they said, and then you try to work it. What kind of solution we can find to address that? And in that, this can be the other point. The first point is you make sure you attend to your medical issues. The second point is to make sure you follow your cycle closely for the window of fertility. Third, that you eat very healthy. Fourth, that you have an honest conversation that we're going to give you some accountability in terms of both of you being on the same page. And this go with the fifth, which is basically adjusting your life. You know what I mean? If you're doing everything and for some reason you're still not conceiving and there's nothing wrong with you, everything is fine, you and your husband are in the same page, you want to have a kid, etc. Now look at your life. Sometimes you say you want to have a kid, but you're busy. You don't give any room for the baby to actually come in because, let's say, all of your calendar, your time is taken everywhere. Where is the room for the baby? Even spiritually, if the child is already in the spirit world looking at you, seeing your eagerness to become a mom and wanting to connect with you, to come to your life, to be that child for you, but he's looking at your schedule and saying that, oh, you're so focused on your career, it's the most important thing to you. This child may not want to come if he knows that you're going to be resenting it after a while, being like, oh, I should never gotten pregnant, or I shouldn't have had this. So, and it's really also aligning what you say with your current life. If having a baby is your priority, that means you need to look at your entire spectrum of what you are doing right now. Where would the baby fit? Is there room for a crib? Is it in your room or in a separate room in a nursery? What kind of time would you be able to dedicate to this baby? You and your partner, or what kind of social network do you have to be able to care for the child? What would you start envisioning the things you will do with the baby, the thing that you will want to show the baby, and start making those changes within your life. One of my elder once said in a dating class, in a dating training, to assess for yourself, but also to help others, is that when you're dating and you're dating for marriage with the purpose of marriage, you should have a bed where both sides have a nightstand. So to show balance, so that if you have a partner, if you actually meet your husband and you move in together, he has a way to get on and in and out of the bed, and you have your way as well. If your bed is back to the wall, where only one side, only you can get out and you can get up, it kind of frustrates the energy. So there are little tweaks that you can do like this in already envisioning. The baby is not here yet, but you already start thinking about where would the baby clothes be, where before he actually comes, to you and your partner to be in the mode, okay, Maybe we want to have a new tradition when the baby comes. Every Saturday morning, we spend an hour, no matter what's going on at work or with the family, we spend an hour, just you and me and the baby doing one thing. It could be taking a walk. It could be, I don't know, whatever you guys choose to do. And you can even start doing that. Before the baby comes, every Saturday morning, you and your husband, you take a walk, or you and your wife, you take a walk, and you dream about that life with this little one. And you start making room. You start making room in your calendar, especially if you're working a high-stress job, a job that pays well, but that requires a lot of it out of you. Start breaking down and making room for taking your vacation. If you have vacation sitting, taking them, because this is a habit that you need to have when you have kids. You need to actually spend time with your child. So that may be something, changing your perceptions, changing your mentality to actually have room for that kid. And I could go a little bit deeper, but I don't want to overwhelm you, especially if many of you are thinking about, what if financially it doesn't work out and things like that. The other thing I will say about that, in my tradition, we'll say a child is always a gift, because among the children you will have, you never know which one of your children is going to be the one who's going to be so closest to you that child is going to want to take care of you in your older days. And I have to tell you, a lot of people will tell you, you're born, you don't have any responsibility to your parents, but it's because they do not understand what it is to be a child and to have parents. The same way you as a parent, it's your kind of responsibility to take care of this baby. You want this baby to be here, right? You raise this baby. Well, in the same way, a child to their parent, even when you are an adult child and you have parents, there are some responsibility for you towards those elders that brought you here, that gave you life so that you can do all the things that you're doing, complain or excel or whatever it is. And there's this cycle then. You are given, people pour into you, and then comes a time where it's your turn to pour into others. And the cycle continues. So don't think that just because you had this child, and time it's been proven, so many different stories of people who think they were too poor and they kept the baby, and the baby became this, not just a bundle of joys and a source of infinite joy, because you never know how much joy you're going to get from having this child, especially if you pour enough and you set up the environment for that child to thrive. The joy they can give you is always going to outweigh whatever grief, whatever deception, or whatever sadness that will also come along with it. Because with everything, you're going to have the good, you're going to also have a little bit of the bad. And we want to try to minimize the bad as much as possible. That's why we try to prepare our kids, our children for the future and all of that. So really have this mindset and this shift with your partner. Discuss with your partner. Maybe how would you do during the pregnancy? Would you be able to take time off? Can you actually even think about taking time off for the entire pregnancy if you can do it? Not if you can afford it. I said if you can do it. There's a big difference between that. Will that be an option? Will that something that the both of you will want? After the baby is born, how long do you want to stay at home? Do you want to even leave the baby and go back to work? Or do you prefer to stay at home? These are things that you need to speak about with your spouse and your partner. And if you need to, with your extended family. Having sometimes the grandparents chip in and say, if you stay at home, we can help support. Because sometimes also, going back to work to have to take all of your salary to pay for daycare is really not efficient. It's not an efficient spending, and it's not efficient spending of your own time, because you're working basically to pay someone to take care of your child, which is something that if you were not working, you just take care of that child and be able to do other things as well and pour into that child from you directly. So just have a mindset, just have a vision, and start walking towards that vision. So like I said, it's not just about standing back and waiting and just saying and praying. It's actually taking the steps and doing certain things. And this window is there to support you as well. And based on different other plans been going on, you may have people walking in, you may meet old friends, you may also have support groups of moms, also support groups of people who had miscarriages before. If you had a miscarriage, it's also great for you to be around other people who have kids. so that you are living and retelling in being what is a mom and being around those baby spirits that are all over the place. I know, do it when you're ready. If you're still, hurting and all that, take the time to heal from your past miscarriages and then move on. But it may sometimes take longer for you to move on from that, from the hurt and the pain and all of that. But this window is here for 6 months, and this is an opportunity where you will see miracles. So, and this is not just me saying this. This is something that's been verified when those specific placements have been seen. There had been miracles in the past. So it's just for you. I don't know when is the next window, but for you, rather than thinking, oh, if I miss this one, there will be another one, act as if this one was the last one. For example, for me, I say I'm in my 40s, so for me, I want to have all of my addition in my family within this decade. And once this decade is over, I think my family will be complete, and we can just continue growing. And as they grow, get to learning on different things on different levels. Okay, so depending where you are in your age, you may see this as more of a priority now in your late 30s, mid 30s, and up. Rather than if you are maybe in your early 20s, you can have a little bit more time to think about it and to prepare. So you can take a lot more time to learn about your cycle and all of that. But if you are past your 30s, mid 30s and up, for you, I will take this as more of a priority, especially if you want lots of kids. So the earlier you start, the better it is. And if this is a window also for you to dream big. If you don't know what other opportunity will come when this window closes, I say 6-7 months, then dream big, dream twins, dream triplets, dream quadruplets, whatever you think, healthy pregnancies, right? But don't limit yourself. Shoot for the stars, aim big, and tell those babies that you and your partner are ready to be their parents, that your husband is willing, and you are waiting for them to enter their life, and you are setting things up so that you'll try to be the best parent they can have for them. And as you say all those things consciously, right, and you start taking the steps toward them, and you start having the thoughts, and staying those thoughts in that vibration, in those visualization, you're adding that onto your subconscious. Okay. So I'm just so thrilled, and I encourage you to stay in this alignment. The next 6 months for you are going to be fantastic as you just focus on that aspect of your life that maybe has been not so, maybe you have everything else that you've ever desired, and that's the aspect of your life that's kind of like missing a piece. Then focus on that now and give it that one last try. If you already had given up, this is the time for you to do one more try for this 6 months, and be focused, give it your all, do your best, and please, if you do get pregnant during these 6 months, come back to this video and let me know. It would be such a joy for me to just share in your joy. Yeah, so that's it. This is a very long video, but I hope you enjoyed. Of course, you'll have much more videos from me from now on, and I'm so happy just to be back. I have to tell you, this baby is giving me so much so much joy, so much to think about, and so much. She's teaching me also so much, and I can't wait to share those teachings with you all. So thank you. Of course, as usual, leave me your comments, what you thought about this video. Tell me where you're watching me from as well. I would love to know where you are, and if you have also things happening in your life that you will want to share, please do so. And I'll let you know very soon when we'll have our first off YouTube call with a Zoom call. And until then, much love to all of you. Bye bye.